Dysfunction creates jobs. It's only the end result is it destroys jobs, but short term people can think it creates jobs.
My dad was part of the U.S. Navy joint Westinghouse Carnegie Mellon nuclear program.
Yeah.
In the 60s and 70s, and Rickover was his report. And we talked a lot about the downfall of leadership at Westinghouse.
Yeah.
And I remember it became from a company filled with engineers and innovation to a bunch of bureaucrats and MBAs and business people talking business speak and living an incredible lavish lifestyle. After he left there, he was working on nuclear aircraft carriers, space rockets, and submarines, which is very prestigious. And you had an incredible group of people because at GE, like you said, there's a lot of competition between the two firms. He ended up shifting after to RJR Nabisco. And the same kind of ego existed there. Yes, KKR came in and the Barbarians of the Gate, and we know some of those stories from that standpoint. But it almost got comical when you would hear the CEO and the other senior executives running parallel Boeing 747s, burning up cash like there's no tomorrow, and not having a stake in the company.
Right.
And Jack, one of the things that I admired about him, and I actually got to co-teach a class at Georgia Tech with him.
Oh, fun.
Early 2000. One of the things he did also, especially in the 90s, is the internet was coming, ERPs were nice and cheap and did very smooth implementations. What he would do is he would have class with 20-year-olds on how to train the executive team on how computers and how technology were actually going to get used and implemented, so he cannot be the high, mighty, ivory tower and then tell people what the future is going to be because they got a McKinsey slide talking about the future of the internet and the future of technology. It also reminds me of Lee Iacocca. One of the things that he did early on was be on the plant floor when he left from Ford to GM, and he actually understood at the assembly line level. Walk us through kind of that culture, because as GE, obviously GE is broken up in a lot of different pieces. Larry Culp, when he was running the firm just recently, got this giant ball of green string, and he walks into one of the plants, and all the inputs are coming in, and he walked 5 miles or something like that to just see how inefficient the plant was and how long it would take. And GE is storied because of its implementation of Lean and Six Sigma principles. Ironically, it being invented in the US, the Japanese take it, do an incredible job, but GE is one of the companies that pioneered and implemented these things. How is, at the leadership level, not able to get disconnected from the reality on the ground? Any thoughts or perspectives on this?
Yeah. Again, another amazing topic. So what happens in companies is the leadership team gets disconnected from what's actually happening. And actually, the organization has a strong interest in disconnecting the leadership team from what's actually happening. I would joke at Depot that if I walked into a Home Depot store and I asked the store manager, how's everything going? That was just the question. There is only one right answer, and this is the same answer in every company. The right answer is, everything's going great, you are amazing, please leave. And so that was happening over and over. So Welch never allowed that. We can talk about how the tactics of staying ground engaged. He was incredibly ground engaged. That got lost. That was genuinely lost. And, Jeff Immelt has a lot of positive things going for him. And he's an amazing person, I guess, in his own right. But the saying at GE was success theory. What the real exercise was around, how do you put on the theater of success? Because that's what's going to get you promoted. Because in the end, that's, rather than somebody like me saying, I'm going to get successful in this company by telling them what they're doing is full of shit. I'm going to be successful in this company by explaining how their shit is actually amazing. Those are two very, very different profiles of how do I succeed in this business. And the shift from one to the other, in my mind, ball of string notwithstanding all the rest of that, if no one's telling you and you're not staying engaged in what's actually happening in your business, ball's a string.
Yeah, that reminds me, even when Ford, before the 2008 crash happened, when Alan Mulally came in, they couldn't figure out all the different brands and cars in a single unified document. And what he would do is he'd sit up at night, go to every single website, go to every single plant, try to figure out what's going on, because that disconnect starts to breed itself. Because if I've got pension on the line, I've got my tenure here,
Everybody's
you almost
invested.
become a professor.
No, everybody's invested in the dysfunction. I mean, no, this is, again, a lesson of the government. Actually, people don't mind the dysfunction. Dysfunction creates jobs. It's only the end result is it destroys jobs, but short term, people can think it creates jobs.